All right, Ken. Thanks a lot. Appreciate everyone being here. Been unique this week with the bye. I think it's been productive for us as a team. But really looking forward to this great opportunity here on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock against Arkansas. I think you really have to reevaluate how you scout their team and just focus in on the last 80 minutes that they've played. I thought they were terrific defensively against Kentucky on Saturday. And then last night, really played a complete game on the road at Missouri. I thought defensively, again, fantastic. And then offensively, really scored the ball at a high clip, absolutely dominated the game, scored 56 points in the paint. And been really good getting to the free throw line all season long. So great challenge, but great opportunity for us on Saturday morning.
How have they changed from in the past with all the injuries and defections they've had to deal with? Is the team changed a lot over the last year or so?
Well, I think they're playing different personnel. But when you look at last night's game, for example, there are three bigs. Mitchell playing high-level basketball, had 19 and 14. Might have had a double-double in the first half. Just playing with a lot of physicality up front. Lawson and Graham both were terrific as well. I think one difference with Mark, the transfer from Houston, he's averaging 19 a game in league play. He's gone to the free throw line 50 times in league play just through 7 games. So he's really an elite scorer, lefty, gets to his spots and can raise up and score. Battles a proven scorer over the years at the 2 position. And then I thought last night their speed at the point with Blocker and Minifield was really good. So I think the defense is always a constant with their teams. And last night, 91 points on the road, 56 of them in the paint. It looks to be trending in the right direction for them.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been a pretty consistent first shot defensive team, but the Bama game, they were able to get out and transition quite a bit. I mean, how much has that been hammered home, I guess, this week in kind of preparation for what you're going to be facing coming up here?
Yeah, I think important, Glenn. Going into that game Saturday night, we were actually second in the league in field goal percentage defense, second in the league in three-point defense. And some of that, I thought, number one, Alabama was terrific Saturday night. I mean, they were phenomenal on the offensive side. I think some of our poor decision-making and some key runs on offense really fueled their transition break. So I think it's a combination of, number one, we got to be better in our transition defense against the quick athletic teams like in Alabama, Arkansas. But two, we can't make poor decisions on offense, whether that's an unforced turnover or a quick contested shot that really puts you at a huge disadvantage in transition. And that's what happened to us way too often in the second half on Saturday.
You had 2 tough losses in a row, and then you played Alabama, and then you get the chance to step back and look at it a little bit. What do you tell the team at this point that, like, you got 11 games left, this is what we have to do? Did you address that?
Oh, for sure, Sheldon. I think you're always trying to be very intentional in how you're improving your team and how you're building your team. We talked about those areas, starting December 16th when we got Jalen Cook eligible and our team started to evolve. I think this week was no different, trying to identify areas where we can get better in practice and really simplify it. And to me, on the offensive side, it's eliminating the unforced turnovers and the poor shot selection early in possessions. You look in the last 12 seconds of our possessions against Alabama, we averaged 1.35 points per possession, which is really, really elite from an execution standpoint. But in the first 7 seconds of the possession, we were very poor because we forced some things, took bad shots, and again, that fueled the second thing I would cover, our transition defense. This league's just so athletic and so talented. If you let teams get an advantage in the open floor, you're in big trouble. And then I think the third thing, Sheldon, and it plays right into this game, we're sending our opponents to the free throw line way too much. And Arkansas is top 5 in the country in getting to the free throw line. So fouls are going to be part of the game. We want to be physical. We want to be aggressive. but we've had some undisciplined fouls that really start to take their toll. I mean, I think at the under-8 media on Saturday night, we had 4 guys with 2 fouls in the first half. It just makes it really difficult on you, especially when we're last in the league in free throw percentage defense. Our opponents are shooting 79% at the free throw line. So we need to keep them off the line and do a better job there.
Yeah, I mean, with Jalen, I mean, it just looked like he was, a really seamless fit those first 4 or 5 games, and it looks like it's maybe just been a little bit of a struggle to kind of figure out where he, I don't want to say fits in, but just kind of unloading or unlocking the playmaking element to his game. How much of that have you been able to sit down with him this week and kind of work on just maybe how he can continue to try to get, himself but also others involved with the offense?
Well, it's critical. It's the quarterback of your team. And so you have to have good point guard play at any level of basketball, but especially here in the SEC. I think got off to a great start with 16 assists, 4 turnovers in the first few games back. What's happened now, you're seeing multiple coverages, different defensive styles. And so this week's been good to go through and watch some video, study, to see where we can make some better decisions from a shot selection standpoint and creating for others. And so I think you'll see him continue to get better and better there.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned y'all's tempo. Y'all are, one of the fastest teams in the conference at this point. Is there a balance you want to strike, or do you feel like it plays to y'all's advantage, to y'all's personnel, to kind of play more up-tempo?
Well, it's a great question. I think there is a balance there. We're playing at a tempo more in line with what I would like our teams to play at. I think it's a fun way to play. I think it gives you easier scoring opportunities in transition. I think we're second in the SEC in tempo. And we talked about that back in mid-December, that you would see our style start to evolve now with some personnel changes. But I think there has to be a good balance, especially when you're on the road and you're in an environment like in Auburn or in Alabama, where we made some poor decisions early in possessions, whether it was a turnover or a bad shot, and you're going to pay for those. And we did in both games. So I think some of that is you certainly want to play fast, but you have to balance that with good decision-making, disciplined offense. And there are times where you need to go later in the possession to get a high-quality shot so that you're not on defense the entire time. Obviously, it's not ideal to be on defense, for 85 possessions against a team like in Alabama on the road. And so there's improvement that we have to make there to strike that proper balance.
Hey, Coach. Can you talk to me a little bit about Mike Williams and just how he's progressed since the beginning of the season and where you want to see him go?
Yeah, I love Mike Williams. There are a lot of things that stand out about him, starting with the recruiting process that have certainly carried over once he got here. And you start with toughness, competitiveness. He's a team-first guy. And I think it's a great trait. He's very coachable. He wants to be coached. He demands that he gets coached. And I think that's why you see him keep getting better and better every time out. And so, he's been really impressive in his communication as a true freshman in this league, and just been really pleased with his development, not just as a player, but as a leader, a guy who really can stabilize your team. I think he understands situational basketball. He understands what your timeout huddles need to look and sound like. Can't say enough good things about what he's brought to our team.
And obviously, y'all have hit a rough patch the last 3 games, but overall, you can see there's improvement from year to year over the team. So how do you look at it? How do you look at where you are, in the moment, and where you are, trying to get as a program? Because, like I said, you can see that it's better from a year ago.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's been massive improvement from where we were, obviously a year ago, but even from early December of this year. The disappointing piece of that is, we got off to a great start at 3-1 and put ourselves in a position to be in 2 one-possession games, and we weren't able to get over the hump in those. Can look at that, depending on your perspective, as encouraging that you're in that position, or discouraging that you didn't get the job done. So I think the next phase is you have to take the step forward and understand the value of every possession so that we can win those games that we're in. But we've made a lot of progress, but certainly a long way to go. And so I think you just have to stay focused on, being really intentional in building your team, staying focused on the areas where we really need to improve as a team on both sides of the ball, and keep focus on those things, and eliminate all the other distractions that come with building a team and a program.
If you look at conference stats only, conference games only, field goal, 3-point field goal percentage on your side, 3-point field goal defense, 2-point overall field goal defense, all in the top half of the league. Is it kind of encouraging but kind of head scratching that you're not better than 3 and 4? I mean, you've done pretty well in those 3 categories.
Yeah, I think you come back to the value of every possession there. You look at Georgia, for example, and man, we just get that one rebound on the last possession, you win the game. But we had some empty possessions of unforced turnovers. But you're just trying to identify, how do we keep those stats continue to be good for us and then improve in the other areas. If you would have told me last week we'd go to Georgia and to Alabama and make 21 threes at 41%, I would have felt really good about that. But we shot a better percentage from 3 than from 2 in those 2 games. Was that forcing bad shots? Was that our inability to finish at the rim? Combination of the 2. Whatever it is, we got to improve that. And we've got to be, I think we're second in the league in the percentage of our shots that come at the rim in that 8-foot restricted arc, but we're 10th in percentage. And so we've got to improve upon those things. So I think just staying focused on continuing to get better. You see the league, I mean, the games are incredible every night. So you just have to move on to the next game and get ready for the next opportunity, which, for us is Saturday against Arkansas, who, to me, the last 80 minutes has played really good basketball.
I know we've asked about them for a month now, but Carlos and Damian, I guess short-term and long-term.
Yeah, but both still out rehabbing their respective injuries, and don't have a timeline on a return date for them. All right, thanks so much. We'll see you Saturday morning.